What does the word cardboard denote in the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson? What does the line both rye with the labored ease of loss mean? What are the three different phases depicted in the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson? Welcome to my classroom, where today we will study the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. Shirley Toulson was a notable British poet celebrated for her poignant and contemplative verses. Her poetry, marked by its lyrical beauty and emotional depth, often explored themes of memory, time, and human experiences. Her writing was characterized by a delicate and introspective style, resonating with readers by evoking a sense of nostalgia and the universal complexities of life. One notable aspect of Toulson's literary inspiration was a deep connection to Celtic culture and folklore. Her fascination with Celtic traditions, which often celebrated the natural world and ancient wisdom, found its way into her poetry. A Photograph is from the collection Circumcision's Not Such a Bad Thing After All and Other Poems, published in 1970. Now let's read the poem together. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. "See Betty and Dolly," she would say, "and look how they dressed us for the beach." The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both wry with the labored ease of loss. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. The speaker initially discusses a piece of cardboard, likely holding a photograph, as a portal to the past, implying its role as a window to a specific moment. In the photograph, two female cousins paddle, typically playing in shallow water, such as at a beach or river. The speaker details the scene, mentioning that the two girl cousins are holding one of the speaker's mother's hands. The speaker identifies her mother as the eldest among the three individuals. Also, the speaker estimates her mother's age to be approximately 12 years old, highlighting the age and the size differences between the cousins. This information helps establish the photograph's significance and the memories it contains. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. The speaker describes three individuals in the photograph: her mother and two girl cousins. They stand still, smiling, their hair partially covering their faces, capturing a moment frozen in time by the photograph. The girls gaze at their uncle, who holds a camera, posing and smiling as he captures the moment on film. The speaker comments on her mother's expression in the photograph, describing it as sweet, conveying warmth and innocence on her mother's face. This photo predates the speaker's birth, preserving a memory from her mother's past. The speaker, shifting focus from the people to the sea in the background, is described as having changed less over the years, emphasizing its enduring and constant nature. This contrast highlights the theme of impermanence between the sea and the transient human subjects. The final line juxtaposes the sea's enduring nature with the fleeting nature of human life. The sea washed their terribly transient feet, emphasizing the stark contrast between the ever-changing life and the seemingly eternal sea, using terribly to highlight this contrast. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. "See Betty and Dolly," she would say. "And look how they dressed us for the beach." The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both wry with the labored ease of loss. The speaker notes a significant passage of time, around 20 to 30 years since the events in the photograph, highlighting life's temporal nature. In the future, the speaker's mother finds the photograph amusing. The mother fondly remembers her cousins Betty and Dolly, emphasizing her memory of the people captured. The mother recalls their beach attire, vividly recalling the day's details and fashion. She reminisces about the cherished sea holiday, emphasizing its significance. This is important because the speaker contrasts her perspective with her mother's. The sea holiday and the experiences in the photograph belong to her mother's past. But for the speaker, what endures is the memory of her mother's laughter associated with that photograph. The stanza concludes with a poignant reflection on shared emotions, a mix of amusement and sadness, arising from acknowledging time's passage and the mother's loss. The phrase "both wry with the labored ease of loss" conveys the weight of joy and sorrow in their shared memories. The shared laughter carries a bittersweet quality, reflecting the subtle but enduring impact of the passage of time and the inevitability of loss. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. The speaker states that her mother has been deceased for a considerable time. The phrase "nearly as many years" implies that her mother has been gone for almost equivalent to the years the girl in the photograph had lived. This comparison highlights the stark contrast between her mother's passing and the girl the speaker sees in the picture. The speaker refers to the situation or fact that her mother has been gone for a similar length of time as the girl in the photograph had been alive. The word "circumstance" highlights this comparison's unique and somewhat unsettling nature. "There is nothing to say at all" conveys that no words or explanations adequately capture this circumstance's emotional impact. The silence surrounding this fact is so profound that it defies verbal expression. The final line underlines the theme of silence. The silence surrounding the speaker's mother's loss becomes all-encompassing and overpowering. The repetition of the word "silence" emphasizes the depth of this emotional void and the idea that grief and loss can be so overwhelming that they stifle any attempt at communication or understanding. The poem ends with a poignant sense of emptiness and the unspoken weight of the past. Let's shift to the analysis of the poem. First, tone. The tone of the poem is predominantly reflective and nostalgic. It conveys longing and melancholy as the speaker reflects on the past and the fleeting nature of memories. There is also an undertone of resignation and acceptance, especially in the final stanza, where the speaker acknowledges the inevitability of death. Second, type. The poem can be classified as a lyrical or reflective poem. It is a personal and introspective piece that explores the emotions and memories of the speaker. It does not follow a strict rhyme scheme or meter, but relies on the rhythm of the language to convey its message. Third, structure. The poem consists of 3 stanzas, each with varying line lengths. The structure is irregular, which contributes to the contemplative and introspective nature of the poetry. This irregularity mirrors the unpredictability of life and memory. Now, what are the themes used in the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson? First, the theme of transience. The central theme of the poem is the transience of life and memory. The photograph serves as a tangible connection to the past and highlights the impermanence of moments and the people captured within them. The girls in the photograph, including the speaker's mother, have aged and changed, and the sea, though relatively unchanged, washes their terribly transient feet. This phrase emphasizes the fleeting nature of human existence in contrast to the enduring sea. Next is the theme of nostalgia and loss. The poem evokes a sense of nostalgia as the speaker's mother looks back on the photograph with fondness and laughter, reminiscing. However, this nostalgia is tinged with a sense of loss. The mother and the girls in the picture have all aged, and the mother's death has created a profound void. The past is cherished through memory, but it cannot be reclaimed, and this realization is conveyed through the labored ease of loss. Third is the theme of silence and ineffability. In the final stanza, there is a theme of acceptance of the inevitability of death and the silence it brings. The speaker recognizes there is nothing to say at all about this circumstance, indicating an inevitable resignation to the natural course of life. The poem concludes with a reflection on the mother's death. The speaker acknowledges the inability to articulate the significance of this event, stating that its silence silences. The final lines suggest that the profundity of death transcends language and leaves the speaker speechless. Next is symbolism. First, the photograph. The photograph is a powerful symbol of memory and the past. It represents a frozen moment in time, preserving history for the present and the future. It also symbolizes the impermanence of life, as the people in the photograph have changed over the years. Second, the sea. The sea can be seen as a symbol of continuity and eternity. It is described as having changed less over the years, contrasting with the fleeting nature of human life. The sea is a timeless backdrop against which the transient lives of the people in the photograph are set. Third, silence. In the final stanza, the silence that follows the death of the speaker's mother can be seen as a symbol of the finality of death. It also symbolizes the inability to express the profound emotions and memories associated with the loss. Now, what has not changed over the years in the poem, A Photograph? In Shirley Toulson's poem, A Photograph, the element described as having not changed over the years is the sea. Where do we find evidence in the poem to support this statement? The answer lies in the lines, "And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet." This line suggests that while the people captured in the photograph, including the speaker's mother and her cousins, have changed over the years and have experienced the passage of time, the sea remains relatively constant and unchanging. It serves as a symbol of continuity and eternity, contrasting with the impermanence of human life. The sea's timeless quality highlights the transitory nature of human existence and the enduring presence of natural elements. Another critical question for the reader should be, what are the three different phases depicted in three stanzas? First, the mother's past and transient nature of time in the first stanza. The first stanza describes the photograph itself. It presents a frozen moment when the speaker's mother and two female cousins are at the beach with an uncle taking their picture. This phrase captures the initial moment of the photograph where the three figures are posed and the sea is in the background. It emphasizes the temporary nature of this moment and introduces the characters and setting. Second is the speaker's past and nostalgic reflection in the second stanza. The second stanza shifts to the future but is still the speaker's past. How? With the speaker's mother reflecting on the photograph years later, she nostalgically recalls the names of the girls in the picture, Betty and Dolly, and reflects on how they were dressed for the beach. This delves into the mother's affectionate memories of the seaside holiday. It contrasts the past captured in the photograph with the perspective of someone looking back on it from a distance in time, just like the speaker remembers her mother's laugh when looking at the photograph. Third phase is the speaker's present and acceptance of loss in the third stanza. The final stanza brings the poem a sense of finality and reflection. It is revealed that the speaker's mother has been dead for many years, nearly as long as she lived after the photograph was taken. This phase reflects on the enduring impact of time and loss. It emphasizes the silence that comes with death and how it silences the memories associated with the past. It also acknowledges the inevitability of the passage of time and the changes it brings. These three phases in the poem guide the reader in looking at the photograph, reflecting on it with nostalgia, and ultimately contemplating the impact of time and loss on memory and the human experience. To conclude, A Photograph by Shirley Toulson explores the bittersweet nature of memory, the inevitable passage of time, and the enduring impact of those we have loved and lost. It captures the essence of a moment frozen in a photograph and the complex emotions that arise when we reflect on the past and the people who have shaped our lives. This brings us to the end of the explanation and analysis of the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. To learn more about Class 11 poems, literary devices, and detailed explanations, check out the Class 11 Literary Devices playlist on this channel and at www.misroclassroom.com. Like, share, subscribe. Remember to press the notification icon. Bye-bye.